Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We are the SpiffyNeedleGeeks. I am your host, Danny, and I am joined by BJ and Ryan. Hopefully Brendan will join us at a later date. And as I promised at the end of Threads of Fate, we're doing sort of a double feature for the next couple of weeks. I will be taking a look at Tomb Raider and Uncharted, because it's really hard to talk about one without talking about the other. Hence why I figured it'd be fun to do kind of like a compare and contrast between the two series. Because Tomb Raider was such a huge phenomenon when this came out. I believe it was early 90s. I'll fact check that and put that on the screen. But it came out in the early 90s for PlayStation 1, PC, and Sega Saturn, believe it or not. That was actually how I first played this game, was on the Sega Saturn. But,
Wait, hold up. This was on a Sega Saturn?
Well, the version that I'm playing for you guys right now is PlayStation, obviously. But yes, this game did come out on the Sega Saturn, and that was how I played it.
Okay, I must have been out of the loop on that one, because all this time, I thought Tomb Raider was more so just a PlayStation exclusive.
Nope, at least not the first one. But, pretty much after the first one, the later Tomb Raiders were pretty much PC and PlayStation at that point.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty, so anywho's, Tomb Raider. So yes, this is the original Tomb Raider, introducing the world to the ever infamous Lara Croft. And this first game, there's not a whole lot to really talk about story-wise or anything, Okay, Lara's being contracted by this lady, Jacqueline Natla, to find this pendant known as the Scion, and it's apparently buried somewhere in Peru. So she's going to go off adventuring. But before we do that, I want to show off a feature that's actually really prevalent in what is considered the classic Tomb Raider games. And by classic Tomb Raider games, I'm referring to the first 5. So, in these classic Tomb Raider games, you have the option of actually exploring Lara's house, and this acts as your training level.
You mean mansion? That is not a goddamn house.
Yes. So yeah, Lara's backstory I know has been retconned multiple times because, Tomb Raider itself has been rebooted multiple times. But the original backstory, if I recall correctly, at least as far as this game goes, so Lara, she was pretty much born aristocrat, and at some point in her life, she ended up in like a plane crash, and I think the plane crashed somewhere in the Himalayas or something. And between her love of like history and archaeology, and combined with the fact that she had to survive in the ruins of this crash until help arrived, she got such a thrill from it that she's like, you know what? I'm going to use all my money and inheritance to go on adventures instead of just, living, an easy life. So, hence why, she's basically converted her house into a personal gym, and why this acts as the training level.
Do you think this is what would have happened to Bruce Wayne if his parents died via accident instead of via murder?
I have no idea.
Oh, God.
That's actually an interesting prospect, because we've seen plenty of stories of Bruce, plenty of adaptations of Bruce Wayne, but they always revolve around, the death of his parents. We've never, we've seen very few adaptations where they live, but, we've never really seen an adaptation, at least none that I'm aware of, where we see his parents die, via anything else except for murder.
True. Alrighty, so, the reason why I'm showing off this part of the game, one, it's a pretty unique feature, but I also just really love the concept of how they handled this as the training level, because you look at games nowadays, and, this is especially prevalent in Uncharted, where, you go through the first level, and it's like, oh, press this button to jump, press this button to shoot, press this button to dodge, shit like that. But what Tomb Raider did was, we're just going to dedicate an entire section of the game to this. So that way it's like, get you acclimated to the features at your own pace before you actually go into the game, and now you got to start thinking on your toes. And granted, it's not very prevalent in this game, obviously because it's the first one, but in Tomb Raiders 2 and 3, you can literally spend hours just farting around in her house and, like, really exploring what it has to offer and everything. I mean, there's actually, like, secret rooms and shit that you can find just by exploring her house.
I mean, it is a mansion, so of course there are going to be a shit ton of rooms. That said, gotta appreciate the fact that, I assume she lives here by herself with, like, maybe, like, what, a servant or two, or...
In Tomb Raiders 2 and 3, you actually do see there is a butler that lives in the mansion with her, and he actually follows you around. Okay. So you could be walking around and he's walking around carrying, like, a tray, like, of tea.
Please tell me his name is either Alfred and/or Hobbs and/or James
or Jeffrey.
I honestly don't remember. I think it might have been like Jeeves or something.
Okay. We're harkering back even farther. Okay, but
again, I will fact check that and I will put it on the screen.
Okay, but no, gotta appreciate the fact that a whole 2 people live in this huge ass mansion, and she's actually willing to use up all this extra room space for a training course.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's be honest. People who live in mansions, what do you actually need all that room for?
But press right, and I'll shimmy sideways until there is room. Then press forward.
Because, like, my uncle, like, my stepdad's brother, he's a rich guy, and he lives in this big-ass mansion with, like, a giant acre of horse land behind him. And I'm just sitting here like, what do you need all this room for? The only people that live here are you, your wife, and on occasion, your wife's daughter. All your sons are all adults and moved out. What's all the room space needed for?
Now here's actually this is a little unique feature. The game doesn't tell you this, but if you try vaulting up on a ledge while holding the walk button, she pulls herself into a handstand. It literally does nothing. It adds nothing to the gameplay or anything. It's just a stupid little thing that they added that I just like. It just makes me giggle. And if you actually jump while holding the walk button, that's when she'll dive.
Oh God, Laura, why are you swimming in pants? That's like the most uncomfortable thing.
Yeah. So naturally, the way water mechanics work, that bar is your air. If it goes down, like you lose all your air bar, it basically starts taking down your health bar. And of course, you lose your health, it's a game over.
Wait, can you drown here in the training level?
Yes, you can.
Wow.
You can drown.
No, BJ, you can actually breathe in this very particular spot, even in underwater.
Well, no, I understand the logic, but it's not often where the game games actually let you die in like a training section, unless said training section itself is actually like an actual level.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it for the training level. I mean, it's just you go through everything, and they're like, all right, you're done. So now we can actually start the game proper.
God,
the only thing that the game, naturally, of course, doesn't teach you, which you have to learn in the game, is how to shoot.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, the training levels, like, okay, this is how you jump, this is how you grab things, this is how you can run, jump, and grab things, this is how you swim. But, you want to learn how to shoot and defend yourself, you got to do that in the game.
Wait, was she wearing shorts?
Yes.
God damn it. You're doing it wrong. You swim with the shorts on, and when you're in cold environments, that's when you wear pants.
Well, she's wearing that cloak to keep her so warm, right?
It's open, though.
Right?
It's more like a poncho. Anyway.
Yeah, well,
why would someone wear a poncho when it's not raining? What's up with this girl? Shut the fuck. Anyway. Oh no. You unleashed the hounds!
You don't even have a name tag. What chance do you have?
No!
Was cutting the rope really necessary? You could have just jumped. Or was it attached?
Somehow she survived the jump.
She's also freezing her ass off right now.
So here's the thing when it comes to Lara Croft. Nowadays when people think Lara Croft, they just think, gaming
oops,
sex.
Accidentally shot my friend, too.
No.
It wasn't the wolves that got him. She shot him on accident.
But here's the thing, like with Tomb Raider, and honestly this first cutscene is a pretty good example to the contrary. When people think Tomb Raider nowadays, all they think of is, sexy video game character. Like, the sex appeal always comes first to people's minds. But what you'll actually find in this game is that the whole sexy gaming heroine thing, that is not at all in this game whatsoever. Where that whole thing came from, it's not the fault of the developers so much as, I guess you could say, the publishers, because, well, how else are you going to market a game with a female lead back in the day? Well, let's just follow on the whole argument of sex sells. So that's why when you see, like, even in the classic Tomb Raiders, there's a lot of, like, promotional art and everything that, depicts Lara as, like, very sexy and everything. So it's like, that's really where that argument is coming from. It has nothing to do with what's actually being portrayed in the game.
Oh, hello.
Yep. And here's another thing. So, obviously, there's all kinds of secrets and everything that you kind of have to go out of your way to try to find. I sadly don't get every single secret, because I don't know where every single secret is. But I do get most of them. So, whichever ones that I know of is where I will go for them. And these secrets usually lead to things like ammo, guns, medipacks, that kind of stuff. So here's how the gun mechanics work. You press the button to pull out her guns. She starts off with a pair of pistols. Pistols, don't ask how this logic works. Pistols have unlimited ammo. When Lara draws her pistols, if she points at something, shoot it. You press the action button and she will shoot things. And that is pretty much your means of defending yourself. Now, there are 4 types of weapons in this game, and when we find the other weapons, that's when we actually have, like, an ammo count. So, not quite sure why pistols give you unlimited ammo, because, one cursory glance tells you that, no, you don't get unlimited ammo from a gun.
God, imagine if they fused these pistols with the Halo 1 pistols.
Just pulls out the pistol and it shoots one bullet at one huge tank and it explodes.
God. That also said, going back to what you were saying earlier with the whole sex appeal, like you said it wasn't any fault of the developers. That's not fully true. Like, although I guess I don't know. This also may have been more of like of an animator thing as well. I did hear things about how when they were designing Lara Croft's model, I guess one of the head design modelers for her model jokingly kept enlarging her breasts in the model, and when I guess someone else, I guess when the lead saw that, he was like, you know what, keep that.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think my point, if anything, is just more so, if you actually play the classic Tomb Raider games, it's yeah, Lara's got big tits and she's got a good ass, but, when you actually play the games and everything, yeah, there's not really any kind of, I guess, the attitude or something like that you would expect out of a sexy character where they're so flirtatious and okay, let's show off her body as much as possible. You don't get that in this game.
And again, there's also a reason why why she appears the way she does. She's keep in mind, she's an explorer. She's very physically fit. Of course, her body's going to be in pretty peak condition.
Right. That's why it's I remembered, when, when the reboot, our current reboot, which is, our second or third one that we're on right now, when, when they were saying, we're going to depict Lara very realistically, down to her design and her character and everything, and it's on one hand, I understand. I get why maybe people want to try to get away from the whole sexy Lara image because, tragically, that is a big part of why the character is remembered. But it's at the same time, it's one of those things where it's just I really didn't even think it was that much of a big deal because, again, I'm thinking back to how she's actually portrayed in the game, and she is not portrayed in the game as people claim she is. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Or at least maybe that's just how I got what I get out of it. But I don't know. I guess I'm just one of those like gamer girls that just does not get bothered by like, oh my god, sexy women in games. It's like I don't get bothered by that. I'm like, okay. I mean, if there's nothing more to the character other than sex appeal, yeah, there's a problem. But I mean, it's like if the character, it's like take like Lara or even like, like Bayonetta as like a more modern example. If there's, I don't care if the character is sexy, just as long as there's more to the actual character than just the sex appeal. It's like, if there's more to the character, then great. I don't care.
Right.
But that's just me.
That said, I have to ask, is there like a back door in these ruins or something? How are there animals here? Because I feel like animals would run, especially the carnivores, would run out of food fairly fast in here, considering that the place was sanctioned off before Laura came in here.
I suppose. Well, then again, I guess this also kind of begs the question, okay, we are in ancient ruins that clearly have not been inhabited for some time. So where is Lara getting like these like medipacks and stuff? Like where are they coming from?
Well, that just goes back into the whole video game logic of why anything is lying anywhere.
I suppose. It's like I know I shouldn't be thinking too hard, but still
there were many other adventurers like Lara Croft who explored these ruins once, but unfortunately, unlike Lara Croft, their lives were taken by the wolves, bats, and bears.
It's like first example I can think of, like in Halo, like when Master Chief was like the first one to barge into a Covenant, spaceship. Why is he able to find ammo of Earth guns in there?
Yeah, that is true.
But I was under the assumption that the Covenant abducted some of these other UNSC Marines, shortly after the Covenant attacked the Pillar of Autumn.
Okay, but why would they just take their ammo and just leave them lying around in random places? See, it like that's just things you don't question. Like they're there for the game because it's a game. Like you need resources.
Right.
I mean, if anything, Resident Evil is probably one of the bigger offenders of that. Because on how you just find random ass ammo just plastered around the mansion, or just lying around in the city streets and shit like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would ask myself, why exactly is this pack of ammo just lying around here of all places? But you know what? This is more of a convenient factor for me. So fuck it, I'm taking advantage of all this ammo.
Yeah, or like how in Pokemon, like if you're going into dungeons or whatever that are that are like ancient ruins of legendary Pokemon that literally nobody else ever goes into, but you still find like potions or Pokeballs or whatever just lying around. Like, what?
It's like, man, those are just really irresponsible trainers, just letting their stuff drop out of their bags.
Well, no, it's one thing. Well, no, like I said, I'm talking specifically about like areas like for example, like in like Pokemon Emerald or Ruby and Sapphire. There's the Sky Tower. It's a place literally sanctioned off to anybody except for the most powerful, except for like the most powerful trainer, which in that game ended up being your character. Literally, no one else was allowed to go in there. So why were there a shit ton of other items in there?
It's like, don't know, don't care. I need Pokeballs. I need the potions. Give them to me.
That's exactly my point. It's a game. Like the game is more like the developers are more focused on you having your resources more than they are the logic of it. Because unless it's specifically tailored to be a survival horror game, like, they want to make sure that the player is comfortable while playing the game.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. Now here's actually a good opportunity to talk about the soundtrack in this game. You know,
I've already been digging the very few tunes that have been shown off in this game thus far. Especially the little jingle that plays when you find an item, or a Lara Croft's mansion theme during that little cutscene.
Yeah, well, because the way Tomb Raider utilizes music, it's one of those games where, yeah, kind of like that. Like, so it's very, very sparingly. This is a game that it's like Silent Hill. You hear the music, it actually contributes more to the atmosphere. So it's like, yeah, you know, before when the wolves came out, we got some kind of like, you know, we got like a kind of song that tells you, oh shit, there's danger approaching, watch out. But then it's like, oh, you found a secret, or oh, you opened a door, look at that, and maybe a little jingle pop up or something. And it's
like that.
Yeah. Now, I know in previous Let's Plays, like Final Fantasy VII, for example, you know, when there's like complete silence, but there's absolutely no reason for it, I always throw like a stupid song in the background just, you know, for shits and giggles, like the submarine game and everything. And it's like, I'm actually opting not to do that this time, just simply because, like I said, that's actually something about the soundtrack I actually really appreciate, because it contributes to the ambiance, and you know what? I want to try and keep that. So, yeah, I will not put in any goofy music or anything, even if it means this game's going to be like, you know, mostly silent with the occasional music riff.
Right.
That said, I have to ask, like watching, you know, Lara do all these, you know, all these little stunts and tricks for platforms. Does she suffer fall damage in this game?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you fall from too high, you will take damage, and then naturally, if you fall from way too high, you will break your bones and die. So I mean, that's like, you know, you'll definitely be seeing this more in later levels, where it's like, if you don't get your jump just right, it's a goddamn death sentence.
Already Laura's able to pull off, like, you know, those real already impressively high stunts without batting an eye. I mean, if I tried jumping from that high, then again, I am a heavier person, so of course my own natural body weight would contribute to that. But I'm pretty sure I'd break something.
Yeah, there are all kinds of dangers and shit in this game that pretty much you got to watch out for. Like, you know. Yeah, watch out for the various animals that will try to kill you. Watch out for any traps, like collapsible floors like this. You know, granted, right now the game's gonna be very kind, but later on, man, this game can be such a dick, because if you go over the wrong collapsible thing, next thing you know, you're landing on a bunch of spikes or something. So it's like, you got spike pit traps, there's boulder traps, there's poison dart traps, there's all kinds of weird shit in this series.
Oh, I didn't even see that guy. What the hell?
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, it's something about this. Like, where's the enemy?
Yeah, it's gonna come right around the corner.
Like, yeah, right around the corner.
It's like, okay, the animal's long dead. You know, it's like it doesn't take that long to kill a wolf in this game.
No, we worked way too hard on this song when an enemy appears. All right, we need to show this track at its fullest.
That said, it's clear that you aren't able to do that in this game. But are there future games where you're able to, like, I guess, harvest, you know, like harvest the meat from animals you kill?
That's something you actually see more in the actually recent Tomb Raider reboot, actually. They try to play more that survival element out of that. This is more of an action game.
Yeah.
Alright, so with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first level. So pretty much every video for this Let's Play is going to cover one level, so don't be surprised if, like, you know, okay, these first few levels are relatively short, but then later levels, it can easily take, like, even with editing, it can take 40 minutes to an hour to complete the levels. So, but that's where I'm just dedicating each part to the level, so there shouldn't take too long whatsoever. But yeah, hope you guys are getting a kick out of this Let's Play, at least starting off with. So hang tight, because Uncharted will be coming up next, and you guys will, really get to see just, okay, how does Uncharted handle their action-adventure treasure hunting storyline? So, see you guys then.